Hello everyone, tonight we are standing on the 7th stair from the bottom, exactly where her shadow stops moving. You are here. Not upstairs, not downstairs, here in the in-between. It's the part of the staircase where the wood changes color, where the dust refuses to settle, and where no matter how many times you repaint the wall, there's always a faint smudge in the shape of a hand. Not a full hand, just 4 fingers and a thumb, as if someone tried to brace themselves before vanishing backward into air. You probably won't survive. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you really like what I do here. Let me know where you're listening from and what time it is there. Now, turn off the lights, maybe turn on the fan for some soothing noise, and let's get started tonight. Because tonight, she hasn't moved in decades, but you just did. You take the first step up. It groans, but politely. A tired floorboard not yet suspicious. Second step, a creak that mimics your breath. Third, a soft sigh, and something a rustle somewhere above behind the curtain rod that hasn't held curtains in years. On the 4th step, you pause. Because there's a moment of cold that doesn't quite feel like air. It feels like notice. Like something has registered you. Not as a threat, just as different from the usual mice. The 5th step holds a fossilized peanut. Strange, but not alarming. Some ancient houses in Britain have coins wedged into beams, a tradition meant to protect from witchcraft or fire. But here in this house, there's no copper under the threshold, no horseshoes nailed to wood. Just this peanut hard as stone placed exactly where she fell. Some say she tripped. Others insist she was pushed. Scholars of the family history, i.e. your aunt with wine breath and unfinished stories, suggest she simply forgot she was mortal. The 6th step is the first that groans twice, once when you press down and once when you lift off. That's how you know the house is listening, not just to your weight but to your hesitation. Then comes the 7th, her stare. It is not lower than the others, but it always feels sunken. The carpet here curls in a way that never stays brushed. There is a cold ring on the wooden banister exactly the size of a child's grip. It is always damp, not wet. Damp, like breath held in place. This is the stair where she stopped, where she leaned forward, hair covering half her face, and listened not to you because you weren't born yet, but to something below. Maybe a whisper, maybe her own echo. This is also the stair where her shadow decided it had done enough following. You can still see it when the light is just wrong. Even if you don't want to, especially if you don't want to, a dark silhouette, short, crouched, waiting to climb. You tell yourself it's just tricks of light, tricks of pressure and warping wood. You repeat, shadows don't get to make decisions. But deep down, you already know better. There are places in the world where shadows are treated with reverence. In parts of the ancient Indonesian archipelago, shadows were once believed to carry memory not of individuals, but of their most intense final thoughts. Some temples carved shadow lines into the floor. Not for ritual, just so they could remember how a person once stood there. Some researchers still argue whether these lines were part of a theatrical system or a religious one. But the truth, quiet and patient, knows it doesn't need to explain itself to scholars. Only to stairs. You shift your weights on the 7th step, and it shifts back. Not down, not up, back, as if the house wants to rewind. This is where the air starts to carry that old scent. Not of rot or mold or some haunted cliche, but of breath that never finished being exhaled. A slightly minty, barely warm exhale. It has teeth in it. Not real ones, impressions of them. The way a whisper seems to graze your skin only after it's passed. You glance back. The hallway is still empty, but the paintings are wrong. They aren't paintings. They're prints, technically. Cheap reproductions, but they've shifted. The one of the lake now shows ripples you don't remember. The one of the tree, the one that always looked dead, is now missing a branch. And behind the glass, a faint blur like someone tried to wipe the inside with a wet cloth and left a smear shaped like a face. You blink. It's gone. Funny how often you find yourself wondering if ghosts get bored, Do they get tired of standing in place, or do they just grow moss the way certain statues do, quietly becoming part of the house until no one can tell if they were ever real? Maybe she got bored of dying halfway down the stairs. Maybe her shadow just decided this is far enough, and maybe the rest of her is still upstairs waiting for her outline to catch up. A fly lands near your shoe. You don't remember hearing it buzz. It's pale colorless, like something dried and folded up from a past season. You watch it rub its front legs together like it's getting ready to tell a secret. You step past it. The 8th stair greets you with the sound of something unlocking somewhere above, far too far to be a door. It sounds like stone pulled gently back from stone, or teeth opening for the first time in years. You tell yourself the fly isn't following you. It probably is, but it's polite. Unlike the shadow, which if you turn back might now be one step closer than it was before. You won't turn back. You already know where she died. The real question is where her shadow wants to go now. You keep climbing even though you don't remember deciding to. There's a moment just past the 8th stair where time flattens. You aren't sure if you're 9 years old or 90. Whether you're climbing back to your childhood bedroom or toward a locked room you've never entered. You touch the banister for reassurance, but it feels older than the house itself, like it remembers hands before yours, and doesn't particularly favor any of them. You pass the 9th stair. The wallpaper here has peeled, revealing a shape underneath some previous pattern long since forgotten. A tangle of vines. Number hair. That's hair. Painted curls, thin and dark with tiny white flowers hidden in the strands. She's always been just beneath the surface. Your fingertips drift across the wall. The hair curls toward you. You draw back. The vine hair doesn't. By the 10th step, your ears begin to fill with that sound again. Not a voice, just a persistent soft knocking. 3 times, always 3, like someone gently rapping the underside of your skull. You try to remember if this house has an attic. It doesn't. Or maybe it does, but no one opens it anymore. There used to be a pole chain that dangled like a spider thread in the hallway. You pulled it once as a child and the light came on before the bulb sparked. That light had memory in it. Some families speak of attics as places where old trunks live, memories folded into cedar and cotton. But yours always spoke of it as a place that refused to forget. That attic doesn't store, it watches. Some ancient cultures believe that stairs leading nowhere were an architectural feature designed to trap spirits. Dead ends for the dead. There's an example in the ruins of Çatalhöyük, Turkey's Neolithic wonder, where dwellings had ladders between levels and often no real front doors. Some theorize it was about defense. Others say it was about the sun. One quiet voice in an academic footnote suggests it was about ghosts. You reach the 11th stair. The knocking stops, and something whispers your name from the top of the stairs. Not the right way, not with emphasis or affection. Just syllables dropped down like crumbs, as if your name was something she forgot she was still holding. You turn, not around within. You turn inward. You remember a dream you had once where the stairwell looped, where up and down met like clasped hands, where you walked forever and only ever returned to this stair. You snap back to the moment and realize you're still climbing. 12th stair. You feel her now, not behind, not ahead, but in the wall. As if she's listening from behind the wallpaper, breathing through the roses. The house should creak, but it doesn't. It's too polite. The only sound is your own breath and the faint clicking of something in the corner. A dried beetle may be playing the banister like a music box. You keep going. On the 13th stair, you pause. You're not superstitious, but the number holds its breath. The stair itself is firmer than the others, as if someone had reinforced it. You bend slightly, and you can almost see the line where new wood meets old, an insertion, a correction. Perhaps someone tried to remove the stain once. Perhaps someone tried to replace it with something forgetful. But memory doesn't work like that. A joke to ease your nerves. What did the ghost say when it reached the 13th stair? Guess I'll die again. You don't laugh, she might. The shadow hasn't moved, but now you think maybe it never needed to. Maybe it was always a few steps ahead, walking backward to meet you. 14th stair. Something touches your elbow. Not hard, not even cold, just the sensation of attention. Like a thought that brushes the edge of your skin. You don't look. That would acknowledge it. Instead, you tell yourself another joke. What's a ghost's favorite type of stare? One you'll trip over. No laughter, only a little exhale from the ceiling. There's a door at the top of the stairs now. You don't remember it being there. The handle is brass, dull, turned slightly, as though someone meant to pull it shut but forgot midway through. And now you do laugh, just once. A tiny chuckle. Because of course she didn't finish closing it. That was never her style. She always left things ajar, doors, windows, hearts. She died that way too. Mid-step, mid-thought, mid-shadow, you reach the 15th stair. The last one. But the landing is longer than it should be. It stretches, warps, folds into itself like old paper burned at the corners. There's a mirror at the end of the hallway. You don't remember it either, but it's been here waiting. The frame is bone white, and the reflection is wrong. You're in it, but not alone. She's standing behind you in the reflection exactly one stair below. You don't turn. You don't need to. Because her hand reaches forward, not touching but tracing the air around your shoulder. Like she's drawing the outline of the person she remembers you could have been. The handprint appears in the mirror first, then on your sleeve. You close your eyes. When you open them, the mirror is gone. But the damp feeling on your arm remains. Some researchers still argue whether staircases serve any symbolic function in ghost lore, or if they're simply a practical setting for unresolved tension. But you've never met a ghost who cared about thesis statements. You only know her shadow still hasn't left the 7th stair. But you have. And now she might be free to follow. You should go back. You tell yourself that quietly, like a line from a forgotten bedtime story. You should go back before the mirror comes back, but you don't. You move forward along a hallway that should have ended 6 steps ago. The air here doesn't carry scent. It carries tone, a subtle vibration like breath humming in wood. The kind of silence that has posture. The carpet is wrong. You don't remember it ever being patterned, but now a narrow design runs along the edge, a line of repeating stairs. Tiny ones, no two the same. One is cracked. One has something crouching beneath it. You blink and the pattern vanishes. It's probably fine. You pass a coat hook. It holds a scarf that no one in your family has ever worn. Woven brown wool with one end unraveled, trailing down like it was tugged then forgotten. You touch it and immediately forget why you reached for it. But your fingers feel heavier, as if they've remembered something you haven't. There's a door at this end of the hall that hums softly. It isn't locked, but it behaves like it is. When you press your hand to it, the wood leans forward towards you, then draws back again like a child pretending to sleep. You knock 3 times. The same rhythm you heard earlier. No answer. Then, in a whisper so faint you might have imagined it. That's my knock. You don't run, because you understand something now. This isn't her voice. This is the voice of the shadow she left behind, and it's learning how to speak. Ancient Egyptian tombs were sometimes carved with false doors, slabs of stone with niches and inscriptions meant as passageways for the soul. Not for the living, just the dead entering and exiting the world quietly. Some archaeologists believe these doors acted as a form of respect. Others think they were instructions, but some, especially the older ones, seem to have worn from the inside. You remember this only as your hand finds the handle. The door opens and nothing rushes out. No scream, no whisper, just stillness, like walking into a breath held for 1,000 years. Inside the room is a staircase. You want to laugh? A staircase leading down, but the house has no basement. Still there it is. Stone steps older than the house set into dirt. Each step worn in the center as if someone has walked them barefoot for centuries. The air smells different here, older, a mix of wet soil and faded paper. You step onto the first stone. The moment your weight shifts, you hear the fan in your bedroom turn off, even though you're not in your bedroom. You're certain of that. Then comes the sound of someone brushing dust from their knees. You look down. There's a fingerprint in the dirt, smaller than yours, fresh. The third step hums, not musically, emotionally, like it's trying not to remember. You crouch and press your ear to it, and for just a moment you hear stairs above you. Not footsteps, just stairs. Moving, a shuffling of boards, a shifting of weight. You rise, heart steady. Another joke. Why did the ghost avoid the basement stairs? Because it wasn't ready to face itself. Not bad. She'd like that one. The part of her that stayed anyway. By the fifth step, your feet begin to ache. Not from climbing, but from forgetting. Your toes feel like they've stepped on stories. Half-told ones. You hear a fragment in the dirt. He held the candle too long. You don't know what it means, but it sticks to you. You sit for a moment, not to rest, but to wait, because something is coming up. You can hear it, not footsteps, not breath, just the sense of approach, a kind of awareness made mobile, and you realize it isn't her shadow coming for you. It's your own curious to meet its ancestor. You remember a folktale now? Your grandmother told it after the power went out. A man who walked down into a hole where shadows waited to tell him what they'd seen. He came back changed, not haunted, educated, but never touched light the same way again. Some say the tale was about mushrooms. Others say it was about madness. Some scholars argue that the oldest stories about ghosts were never about death, but about the persistence of gesture. The way someone once turned a key, smiled, left a staircase without looking back. The real haunting is repetition. You reach the bottom. It's a small space, barely a room. The walls are packed earth. There's a chair old upholstered too fine for this place, and on the seat a neatly folded blanket. You recognize the pattern. It's the same as the one on the stair runner from upstairs before it was replaced. There's a voice behind you, not hers, yours, reading something aloud, but you haven't spoken. The blanket unfolds itself, and for a second you see what your shadow will one day become. It does not look like you. It looks like the person you nearly became the day you walked past the seventh stair without stopping. You are not lost. You are simply not where you thought you were. The room at the bottom of the stairs that folded silence wrapped in blanket threads is not a basement, not a root cellar, not a secret chamber. It is a pause, a quiet one. One that houses no clocks. The shadow does not move again. It's already moved enough. You reach for the blanket on the chair. You half expect it to twitch or whisper, but it just rests in your hands, soft as ash. It smells like dust and citrus, an impossible combination. The kind of scent you associate with books that no longer exist, and sunlight that never touched your skin. You remember her then, not as a girl on the stairs, but as someone who folded things carefully, shirts, fears, promises, and put them away before anyone could watch her do it. You wrap the blanket around your shoulders. It fits. It always did. A small hum begins, not in the room, not even in the air, in your bones, like something old remembering its shape. The kind of hum that iron tools make after centuries underground. The kind archaeologists dream of an echo trapped in material humming out the last thing it touched. You hear stairs in the hum, a laugh, and the voice again. This time hers, just one word, finally. You walk to the far side of the small room. There is no door, no handle, just a piece of wall where the soil has settled too smoothly like someone pressed it flat with both palms long ago. You place your hand on it. It's warm, warmer than the room. Warmer than memory. You press. It yields. Behind it, another stair. Just one. Stone. Wet at the edges. And at the top of it, a mirror. Not a trick one. Not like the one in the hallway. This mirror doesn't show your face. It shows the stair you are on now from a distance. From outside. As if you are being watched through the keyhole of a world that never forgot your name. Here's a third joke to keep you from unraveling. Why do ghosts hate reflective surfaces? Because sometimes the reflection walks away first. You blink. The mirror blinks back. A single white mark appears on its surface. A chalky X. You wipe it away. It doesn't go. Then slowly a second X appears. Beside it. Smaller. as if someone is counting or correcting. You count the stairs backward in your head. 15, 14, 13, and you stop because you remember the 13th stair was different, reinforced, replaced, like someone tried to lock something beneath it. You're not in the basement, you're beneath the 13th stair. She's not trapped here. You are. Some ancient builders believed in memory stones, small carved blocks set into the foundations of sacred places, not for beauty, for witnessing. They recorded nothing physically, no inscriptions, no symbols, but they were chosen by ritual, the quietest stones, the ones that heard best. Some researchers still argue whether these memory stones were real or imagined. No one's ever found one that could be proven to do anything except sit in place and wait. You find one now at your feet. It's smooth, round, gray. The only object in the room besides the chair and blanket. You pick it up. It's warm. You drop it. It doesn't land. It stands. A long, thin breath moves through the wall. Not wind, not words, but breath. Shaped like a question no one ever dared ask out loud. And suddenly, you know. She never fell down the stairs. She stepped off, intentionally, mid-movement, mid-thought, mid-shadow, not to die, to wait. For someone to climb far enough, hesitate deep enough, stay quiet, long enough to feel the door that wasn't a door open inside them. You sit again. Not on the chair this time, on the floor. The dirt is cold, but it welcomes weight. You close your eyes. You picture the 7th stair above you. The way it holds her outline like a pressed leaf in glass. You wonder if someone else has seen it, your cousin, maybe the one who always walked on the left side of the staircase without knowing why. You open your eyes, and now you're no longer sure if you're under the house, or if the house is under you. The mirror has changed. It now shows the staircase as it once was, no carpet, no wallpaper, just bare wood and sunlight through slanted window panes. And on the 7th step, a girl sits with her chin on her knees. She isn't dead yet. She's thinking. The image flickers. She looks up. Right at you. She smiles. But not in a warm way. In a knowing way. Like she just remembered something you're about to forget. The hum returns. Not in your bones now, in the air. But it's not the same as before. It's a lullaby. You don't recognize the melody. But the feeling soft, circular, half-finished pulls at the corners of your breath. The blanket grows heavier, and for the first time since you stepped inside this house, you begin to feel tired. Not afraid, just ready. For whatever it was she came here to wait for. You don't remember falling asleep, but you do remember waking up. And not where you were. You're back on the stairs. Not at the top, not the bottom. Exactly where you started, 7th from the bottom. Her stair. Only now it feels emptier. No chill in the banister. No breath on your shoulder. No smudge on the wall, though you swear it should still be there. You run your fingers along the place where the handprint once lived. It's dry, smooth, a little warm. You sit down. Because there's nowhere else to go, not yet. The house is silent. And not in a way that demands attention. In a way that releases it. You think you understand something now. She never wanted to be found. She just wanted someone to sit where she sat and listen. Not to voices, not to ghosts, to staircases. Because that's what this has always been about, hasn't it? The way stairs fold time into footsteps. The way each creak carries weight not just of your body but of decisions. Regret. Momentum. That strange refusal to fall even when you know you could. You tap the wood beside you. Once, twice. Nothing taps back. That's the strangest part of all. Not the ghost. The absence of her. As if the haunting is complete. As if someone finally reached the end of the story and decided not to reread it. You stand. Your legs ache. Not from effort from waiting. The way statues might hurt if they were allowed to move again. The hallway above is short now. Not stretched or bending, just ordinary. You walk it slowly. Each step unremarkable. The light from the window at the end is dim, the way late afternoon becomes memory. You pass the old print of the lake. The ripples are gone. The tree has all its branches again. Even the fly, pale silent, is gone from the baseboard. You laugh, quietly. No punchline this time, just an exhale. You reach the mirror, the real one. near the end of the hall. You glance in. No shadows behind you. No face that isn't yours. But there's still something strange. Not in the reflection, in the frame. It's changed. At the top corner, faintly carved, are 4 small scratches. Not letters. Stare marks. Like someone trying to remember which one mattered most, or counting how many times they almost turned around. You touch the scratches. They're real. And as your finger presses into the groove of the last one, the light in the hallway shifts. Only slightly. Like someone walked past you in the mirror. You don't turn. You just whisper, "I made it." The mirror fogs, as if breath answered. There's a story carved into a piece of deer bone found in southern France. Not words, just notches. 14 of them arranged unevenly. Some believe it's a calendar. Others say it's a record of the moon. One quiet theory says it's the record of someone who walked the same path every day and counted not time but decisions. No one can prove which is true, but someone made those marks. Someone counted. Someone waited. Just like she did. Just like you did. Just like this stairwell wanted. You walk back to the 7th stair. You sit again, and now that the story has softened, you feel it in your spine. The faintest rise, like your shadow has shifted. Not behind you, inside you, stretching up to the attic you never entered. Reaching down to the step beneath the 13th stair, becoming whole, not haunted, just drawn. You touch the wood again, and this time it hums. Not with her, with you. Because she left something behind. Not a shadow, a space. And you filled it. Not forever, just long enough to let the house finally rest. If anyone asks, there was no ghost. There was only a stair too tired to carry its own silence. Only a girl who leaned too long towards something she could not name. Only a house that forgot how to forget. And you sitting where breath once curled like ribbon and waited for someone to ask if it was still listening. You are no longer haunted, but you will always walk stairs more slowly. You will always glance back at the 7th step, and you will never again forget what your shadow looked like before it became your own.